Well, for more, we can bring in Alex Vines, Director of the Africa Programme at Chatham House think tank in London. We were just hearing there about the scenes of chaos in Bukavu. What do you make of it all?
Very alarming. The UN Secretary General at the African Union summit in Addis yesterday warned about a regional conflict that could potentially break out and the humanitarian impact. He's absolutely right. This is alarming. It's getting worse. And it needs international attention as well as regional and African continental action right now.
So, just take us through the domino effect that we might see if Congo does continue to lose territory in this manner.
Well, it could become a regional war. It's very alarming that the head of the Ugandan military has also talked now about maybe going into Congo. And so I have fears of kind of de facto land grab. That behind this is a desire for control of economic assets and regional control of trade routes. And we'll have to see now whether there can be pressure prevailed on M23 and its prime backer Rwanda to kind of enter into a new round of negotiations. There have been two processes to try and negotiate end of hostilities in the Eastern Congo, the Nairobi process and the Luanda process. Those were merged last weekend at a regional economic community summit in Tanzania. So bringing the East African initiative, the Nairobi process and Luanda together. And it was hoped that would be further strengthened in Addis Ababa at the AU summit, which I've just been attending. I'm just back from it. But I'm very depressed. I just don't think that's going to happen from the language that we're seeing and the diplomacy that's taking place in Addis at the moment.
And just remind our viewers then, what is it about Eastern Congo that these Rwandan-backed rebels and maybe Rwanda itself want to get their hands on?
Well, Rwanda, I think, is about rent-seeking and informal annexation of territory potentially under the guise of M23. The Rwandan narrative is that this is to protect Rwanda's security, that there are still génocidaires active in the Eastern Congo that have been involved in the genocide in Rwanda, and that Kigali needs to protect its near abroad. That's the official discourse. But this is multi-layered, it's multi-complicated. M23 is only the largest of armed groups in Eastern Congo. There are over 100 of them. And the other big problem is that the Congolese military, the Congolese government has found it very difficult to control and administer these areas. Its military is ill-disciplined, it's poorly trained, it was over-reliant on mercenaries. Some of your viewers will remember that there were Rwandan mercenaries that were defeated by M23 and have been repatriated. So this is a very alarming cocktail of regional politics, and it's going to be difficult, I think, to reach a solution.
And we're seeing their pictures of people packing their things and fleeing. What's going to be the humanitarian implications of this conflict?
Already we have the largest displacement of internally displaced people globally in Eastern Congo. This is decades of conflict here. And the reports of what we're having from Bukavu at the moment, the lawlessness, the dropping of firearms that kids are picking up are just indicative of why this is so urgent. I mean, there's looting, the humanitarian crisis is going to increase more greatly. It's why the UN Secretary General emphasized at the AU summit yesterday in Addis Ababa that mediation and immediate cessation of hostilities is absolutely paramount. That has been what everybody has been calling for, but M23 has said that for its own security, it has had to continue to enter into more military operations. I have my doubts on this. I think the solutions in the short term here are actually about strengthened sanctions, particularly on Rwanda, which does seem to be the prime backer of M23. So that means sanctions related to international development to Rwanda. It's cutting the links, I think, of Rwanda's soft power. I mean, it is advertises Paris Saint-Germain, the British Premier League with Arsenal, Bayern Munich. So there's things we can do there. And some of your viewers might be aware that Rwanda is also the largest contributor from Africa of UN peacekeeping. I think maybe Rwanda's clearly showing they're not peacekeepers, and so should be rotated off that platform pretty quickly.
And are we going to start to see some of these things, or is Rwanda's integration, if you like, part of the reason why the UN and the African Union are unable so far to make much of a reaction?
Well, I mean, the African Union is complicated. Last weekend, the regional economic communities, so the Southern African Development Community and the East African Community, they excluded the African Union chair, the outgoing chair now, from the negotiations they were on. So the AU was kind of marginalized, which when I was in Addis the last few days, AU officials were very upset about that. Having said that, the new AU chair is an accomplished diplomat. He's the Djiboutian foreign minister. He's been doing that job since 2005. He knows everybody on the continent. And there is a fortuitous overlap with the new chair of the total AU, so not the AU Commission, who's the president of Angola, who's been leading one of the mediation processes with the Rwandans. So I still hope that with cranking up pressure on Rwanda, we may still find some sort of accommodation. It was this type of sanctions and diplomatic pressure that did resolve a crisis a decade ago when M23 first captured Bukavu and was in the ascendancy in eastern Congo. So history does suggest to me, at least, that concerted diplomatic pressure could result in an improvement of the situation.
And do you see any Western countries taking the lead on this?
Well, the EU is divided on this. The EU is talking about maybe suspending international development to Rwanda, but they have at the same time been talking about that they may well still continue to purchase minerals that are important for European industry from Rwanda. So we'll have to see. The US is also talking about that it may impose its own sanctions. I do think trying to get the international community in sync with also targeted measures by the regional economic communities is the way forward here to reach a cessation of hostilities and maybe then find some sort of political solution.
Alex Vines, great to see you again. Thank you for speaking to us here on France 24.
Thank you.